In this video, we're going to be having a look at a couple of cameras from Reolink, their 8 megapixel range. Make sure you stick around, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button below and keep an eye out for more videos. Hi, I'm Will from Surridge Tech, and today we're going to be having a look at these two Reolink 8 megapixel cameras. We have got the RLC-822A and we've got the RLC-822A. So I will unbox them, I will set them up, and I will give you my thoughts on them. So let's get going. First of all, we will do the 822A. Now this is a dome camera. So in the box we have got some instructions, declaration of conformity, a large number of stickers in various languages, and a mounting template. Fantastic. We've also got a little Ethernet cable, an Ethernet waterproof sealing jacket thing, some tools, some washers, some screws, and then we've got the camera itself. It is chunky. Wow, it's quite cool. I've never actually handled a dome camera before, so this is very exciting. Right, so if we unscrew him, now my first comment would be he is heavy, which is obviously quite a good thing. Right, so cable, we have got a reset button, a power jack, or of course it's PoE using the Ethernet cable. On this dome, we've got a status light which is connected so the dome connects back. That could be dangerous, be careful with that. And then we've got this really quite funky camera with all the circuitry exposed, which is quite novel. There's a lot going on in these, isn't there? It's got a nice seal thing, so it pushes against the glass and creates a seal. And then it's got Phillips screws, so you can angle the camera and point it where you want to point it, but obviously it doesn't come with a Phillips screwdriver, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So that seems quite nice. I quite like the look of that. I'm looking forward to seeing, obviously when you put it up, it's a bit of a faff to reposition it, because you've obviously got to reposition it with the lid off. So I'm curious to see kind of how much of a faff that is. It's kind of a, I suppose it's a bit of a set and forget situation. Once you've set it up, you probably don't want to be fiddling around too much. I'll put the lid back on now. So on the other side of the table, we've got the 822A. Now I imagine this is going to be fairly similar to the 522A, which I've got at home. We've got more instructions. Not sure why these come in a fancy packet and these just come in plastic. A lot of single-use plastic, Reolink. Up your game if you want to save the planet. We've got another Ethernet cut jack thing, we've got some more mounting screws, and we've got the camera itself, which is quite significantly smaller and less obtrusive. But of course, that would have been more satisfying if it came off in one piece. But of course this one is much more secure because you can't move it around, whereas this, even once it's mounted, you can still fiddle around quite a lot with its position. Metal mounting bracket. Pretty sure that didn't come on the original ones. Nice. Other than that, fairly solid build. Got a micro SD card slot under some screws. And that's kind of all there is to see on this camera. So, as for the features of these cameras, They are both PoE cameras, but also accept a DC jack. They're both 8 megapixel cameras. They're 4K, excellent quality image on them. AI motion detection, so they can detect people and vehicles. So you're not just getting notifications from the wind blowing trees or whatever. There is plans to expand that to pets as well on these cameras, so through a firmware update, so that's great. Local storage up to 256 gigabytes, or of course, they've got NDR support with FTP or ONVIF or RTSP. So that is fantastic, excellent bit of kit. Remote viewing through their excellent app. One-way audio, so they've got a microphone in them but not a speaker. They've got up to 100 foot of night vision with IR cameras. And they come in 3 form factors, 2 of which we've got here. We've got the dome, which is the 842A, and the turret, the 822A. The dome has a 5x zoom and the turret has a 3x zoom. And as for prices, the dome camera, the 842, comes in at £105.99, and the turret camera, the 822A, comes in at £95.99. But you can often find them with discounts. So they are excellent bits of kit for a reasonable price. So let's test them out. First of all, let's do this bad boy. Powering on. We're of course going to need the Reolink app. Right, and in theory, we click plus, we scan device, we add device, we connect to device, we initialize, we add a password. Uh, 842A. We don't need to save that. And we have a device. And that is apparently low quality. Right, so let's go into settings, see what we can do. So it knows what it is, obviously. Storage not detected, haven't. Now it does have an SD card slot in there. Upgrade device. All the boring stuff. Display. We probably want to flip you because you're upside down. Quality, we can select our clear resolution and our fluent resolution. And clear is obviously very clear, 8 megapixels, that is quite something. Anti-flicker, day and night, brightness. Ooh, let's keep that in the middle. That was a good place for it. Put the camera name, watermark, that sort of thing. Detection alarm. Detection zone. Not sure quite why it's making me paint on such graininess. Sensitivity. High, medium or low. And then obviously smart sensitivity. So you can change the sensitivity for a person and for a vehicle, which is good. And then the object size. That's new, that's quite cool as part of this smart thing. So your minimum object size and your maximum object size. I suppose that means like if you've got this pointing out towards the road and someone is walking on the pavement opposite, that would be, you could set that as too small for someone to trigger the alarm, but obviously when they get to a size that they're on your side of the road and entering your property, then you can detect. So that's very clever. I quite like that as a feature. Standard push notifications, email alerts, FTP upload. Turn them off. You're not going to work until you're set up. Share camera, time lapse, needs an SD card. Recording, all very good. And because it's the 842, it has got a zoom. It takes a little bit of time to work out its focus, but that is an impressive zoom. Overall, I'm very impressed with that. So we can set this up outside and see what it's like in the dark and in a real life situation, but I am very impressed with that. Build quality is very good. Picture quality is, as always with Reolink, impressive, especially for the price. So yeah, very happy. So I've had these cameras set up and working for quite a while, so I thought I would share my thoughts on them. And as you know, I am a big advocate of the Reolink system, so I'm just going to re-emphasize that here. I have these cameras integrated with my Reolink MVR, no problems, and then straight into Home Assistant via the Reolink HACS integration. They are simple, they are good quality, and they are at a fantastic price compared to some other brands. It's plug and play pretty much, so very easy to set up, very easy to integrate with what you want it to, whether that's the MVR or Home Assistant or just the app. And actually the image quality is fantastic. Notifications come through very quickly and the AI is pretty much mostly accurate, and you really rarely get false notifications from it. The 822A is a fabulous camera and does what it says on the tin. Because it doesn't actually lock into position at all, so you could move it around easily if you wanted to, which is kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing, but you are unlikely to knock the camera because it doesn't actually stick out as much as like a bullet camera does, this turret form factor, but it could get moved accidentally reasonably easily. The 822A, the dome camera, is again fantastic, and it is much more secure in the dome design because you can't get to the camera itself. But little did I know, if outside, which obviously these cameras are fully waterproof, so would go outside, the domes need to be mounted on the underside of something. I put it on the wall on the side and then obviously angled the camera so it's pointing the right way. But I have major problems when it's raining and at night, which happens quite a lot here. So what happens is the raindrops get stuck on the dome casing and the IR lights just light them up, which means you can't actually see anything through the camera. Easy fix for this is to just turn the IR lights off on the camera, and if you need them you can add an external IR source, or what I've got is another camera nearby that's pretty much lighting up the area, so I don't actually need it. But it's a real shame that water stays there and does cause such bad effects to it. So would I recommend these? Well, I will continue to recommend Reolink as a camera manufacturer and a platform manufacturer for smart home cameras. And these cameras fit into that recommendation perfectly. If you need a camera that fits your needs, then it is almost certain that Reolink will have something for you. And if that camera happens to want to be 8 megapixels with AI person detection for outside with PoE, then these are the ones to go for. If you want something more secure that you can mount under the plinth of something, then the dome is fantastic. Otherwise, the turret is equally just as good. So there we go, that is the 842A and the 822A 8 megapixel cameras from Reolink. Make sure you click subscribe and hit the bell icon to find out more about my smart tech and how you can build yourself the ultimate smart home.